Namaskar, welcome to Pradipta's Musings. Today I have chosen a topic which might be in the minds of many viewers. The topic is how to know the characteristics of a person who has become truly spiritual, who is trying to live in this world while taking refuge in God. I will be reading out a letter written by Swami Turiyananda, who was one of the great direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna and who had spread the lofty ideals of Vedanta in the West at the behest of his brother monk Swami Vivekananda. This is a letter written to some spiritual aspirant by Swami Turiyananda ji, because that particular spiritual aspirant wanted to know what are the characteristics of a spiritual person. Swami Turiyananda ji replied in this particular letter. This letter has been written from Almora on 21st July 1915. So I am first reading out the letter, then we may discuss a little more in elaboration based on this letter, and I will also describe my personal experience of being in true holy company. Dear X, I have received your letter of July 14, 1915. I am glad to know that you are keeping well. When the body is fit, spiritual disciplines, recollectedness of God and meditation become easy. So one can realize the truth of this Sanskrit saying, the body is indeed the first requisite for spiritual life. I am extremely delighted to know that by God's grace, you are having deep meditation. What more is needed than to think of Him? Everything of this world will be left behind. If you can make the Lord your own, it will be a true accomplishment here and hereafter. His relationship with us is eternal, not only for 10 or 20 years. You want to know the characteristics of a person who is trying to live in this world while taking refuge in God. This is a good question, but it is more important to resign oneself to God than to know the signs of it, because the signs will manifest themselves. Yet it is not a bad idea to know the signs of a person of self-surrender. The characteristics are generally of two kinds. First, swa-sambedya, that which is known intuitionally by oneself. This is the best method. Second, para-sambedya, that which is known by others. Seeing the external signs of a person, people understand that he has attained knowledge. But there is the possibility of a mistake in this second method, because the external signs may not be genuine. They may appear from some cause other than knowledge. So this method is not flawless. On the other hand, there is no chance of error in what is tested by and realized through one's own experience. Therefore, that swa-samvedya is true. Only the eater himself knows whether his stomach is full or not. For instance, others may think that a person is angry if they see that his face is flushed. This is para-samvedya, or the signs known by others. But this knowledge can be wrong, because without being angry, the signs of anger may manifest on someone's face for some reason other than anger. Just by feigning anger, one may manifest these signs. Only an angry person knows undoubtedly whether his anger is genuine or not. This is swa-samvedya, or his own experience. He may not even show the signs of anger and yet be angry. Therefore, one's own experience alone is real and flawless. However, the signs you have mentioned in your letter are wonderful. Once you take refuge in God, there is no more dependence on any other person, and the feeling of fearlessness spontaneously arises from within. For then one feels God's grace and realizes that the Lord is protecting him. All bad thoughts leave his mind. Good tendencies always manifest in his heart, and a great tranquility reigns supreme within him. All these are signs of Swa-Samvedya, or he who knows by himself. Others see him free from worry, calm, loving towards all, and always content, cheerful, and so on. These are the signs that become apparent to others. There are other characteristics too. What more is there to write? Yours, Turiyananda. So in this letter, Swami Turiyananda ji explains very nicely and very clearly how to know the characteristics of a person who is trying to live in this world while taking refuge in God. That is, how to know whether a person has become truly spiritual or not. So he says that the characteristics can be of two types. One is which one knows intuitionally oneself, the self-realization of being spiritual. And this self-realization is very important, because the second way how these characteristics can be known is para-samvedya, that which is known by others. What happens? Others may not be mature enough to know whether that person is spiritual or not, because the external manifestations which might seem to be that of a spiritual person may not be so, because external looks can often be deceptive. A person may look very spiritual, but from inside that person may not be so. So here people might go wrong in order to know the characteristics of a person, whether he is truly spiritual or not. There is chance of error in knowing the characteristics of another person being spiritual. So Swami Turiyananda ji says, spirituality can be best realized through one's own experience, through self-realization. Because a person who has truly become spiritual, who has taken refuge in God truly, will feel completely fearless. There will be no dependence on anyone. From inside, from within, a person will feel that he does not need any help from anyone outside. He himself is sufficient because he is in communion with God. He will feel that God himself is always protecting him, and there will be no feeling of any fear or loneliness in that person. He will not crave for company or help from others in anything. He will be very loving towards others. He will be sympathetic. He will be compassionate. He will be full of empathy for fellow human beings. He will have a spirit of service towards others, a spirit of unconditional service. He will radiate peace. From within, this peace will well up, and it will be radiated to others who will be in proximity with him. I personally felt this kind of peace radiating from my Mantra Diksha Guru, Srimad Swami Smaranananda Ji Maharaj, the most revered 16th President of Ramakrishna Math and Mission worldwide. I have been blessed to be in his holy company for many years. In 2007 I got initiated, and from that time onwards I got many opportunities to be in his holy company. And he used to radiate such peace and such great spiritual aura that instantly my mind used to be calmed down and used to be free from all turmoils. All the worldly thoughts used to vanish completely from my mind. So this is how a holy person, a truly spiritual person, radiates lot of peace and tranquility, that this aura itself is capable of calming the minds of those who are in proximity with him. So Swami Turiyananda ji says, this tranquility, this spirit of loving his fellow beings, this compassion, this empathy and positivity, these are all signs of Swa-Samvedya, and this can be realized by the person himself who has attained spiritual realization, who has surrendered completely to God. And others also will see the person free from all sorts of worry, and others will feel the spirit of service in that person, that selflessness and his loving attitude towards everyone. The person will look contented, cheerful and free from all the mental turmoils which usually disturb ordinary human beings who are not on spiritual path. So diseases will affect a body, but for a truly spiritual person, even though the body may be afflicted with diseases, mind always remains calm, tranquil and beyond all the diseases of the body. So gaining mental strength, this is also one characteristic of a spiritual person. A truly spiritual person who has surrendered totally to God, who feels communion with God, becomes completely calm and attains mental tranquility. And this mental tranquility radiates in his aura. The person himself becomes an epitome of peace and tranquility, and these characteristics can easily be seen by others. Others can also feel this peace and tranquility in the person who has taken refuge in God. So peace, tranquility, unconditional love, empathy towards others, a spirit of service and renunciation, these are all the characteristics of a truly holy person. And this is self-realized by the person who is on spiritual path, and these characteristics automatically manifest in the spiritual person, and this can be easily seen by others also. Others can also feel these characteristics manifesting externally in the particular person who has really surrendered to God and living a truly spiritual life. Om peace, peace, peace. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.